Welcome to the deep dive. Have you ever been like totally staring at a deadline and just wishing you could hit pause?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Today we're going like deep into those situations where you just need a little more time.
Mm,
You know when things go sideways and you just need a good excuse?
totally.
So we have, well, it's from English Podcast Zone on YouTube,
Right?
and they're tackling how to ask for an extension.
Which we all need to know how to do.
Oh yeah, all the time.
Mm-hmm.
But what struck me was they use this scenario, this boss-employee conversation, and it's about a press kit that's overdue.
Mm-hmm.
But why is that so relatable? Even across cultures, I feel like that is just a universal experience.
Yeah. I think it is because it kind of gets into that anxiety we all have about deadlines.
Right.
And like especially in the workplace. And, the press kit, it's this thing that has to be done.
It's tangible.
Yeah, by a certain time.
Yeah.
And they didn't get it done. And
Yeah.
everybody's been there.
And we meet Casey. She's the employee, and she's in trouble with her boss. And the boss uses ASIP in the email. And I'm like, oh, I can just feel the stress.
Oh, yeah. ASIP is like the universal sign of trouble.
Oh, for sure.
It's like, things are not good.
Yeah. But that's when the podcast gets really cool, I think.
Okay.
Because they show how non-native speakers would navigate this.
Right.
Like they use phrases like, I've been meaning to talk to you about that, which is so much better than like, oh, I'm in trouble.
Right.
But I never realized how subtle it was until I heard them break it down.
Yeah, it's really good because it shows initiative. Like you're aware of the problem and you're on top of it.
Mm-hmm.
But it also softens the blow a little bit.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Before you're like, I need an extension.
Yeah. Like, what are some other ways? I never thought about it.
How many ways are there to say that?
To hint that you need more time.
Yeah.
And then they have to answer the big question, why?
Mm-hmm.
Why is this late? And her list of excuses was like comical.
Oh, really?
Booking the photographer was a problem.
Mm-hmm.
Michael got sick for 3 weeks. The design team lost all the files.
Oh, no.
Like, it's a disaster.
It's like the perfect storm of like problems.
It is.
But each one of those is like it really happens though.
Oh, it does. Yeah.
Like you're depending on other people. People get sick, technology fails. Like these are all very real things.
Yeah, it's like the formula for work excuses.
Yeah.
But then they talk about, it's a language thing that I never thought about.
Okay.
Ran into problems versus met problems. Like English learners really struggle with that.
Oh, interesting.
So ran into is like, oh no.
Right, you were surprised by it.
Totally.
Yeah.
Blindsided.
Yeah, you weren't expecting it. But met problems is kind of like you were looking for them? Or like maybe you caused them.
Wow.
That's not good.
It's so small, but it completely changes
Oh, yeah, that's very subtle.
how it's perceived.
It is, but it's really important.
And then they give this great phrase that I feel like I've used it a million times, beyond my control.
Oh, yeah, haven't we all?
Haven't we all?
Sometimes things happen.
They do.
But I wonder, is it always a good idea to use that phrase? Does that make it seem like you're not taking ownership? What do you think?
Yeah, it's like, are you just making an excuse? Or is there a real reason?
Right.
But they also talk about the phrase, put this off, which we're all guilty of.
Oh, yeah. Procrastination. It's a real thing.
But it's interesting how they use that concept to teach a phrasal verb. I've been putting off this project for a week, or can we put off the meeting until next week?
Right. It's like it really makes it come alive.
Like more than in a textbook.
For sure.
I've been thinking about all the other ways that, like, we talk about procrastination.
Okay.
Like,
sure.
I'm dragging my feet, or I'm just not feeling it today.
Right.
It's like a whole vocabulary for this thing that we all do.
Yeah. And it's interesting because it shows our relationship with deadlines.
Oh, yeah.
Like, we need them, but we also kind of hate them,
Yes. Yeah.
And then that kind of goes back into the excuses. Like,
Yes.
we need a reason why it's not done.
Right.
And we've all been there.
We have. And they ask listeners to share their excuses. It's like a confessional.
Yeah. Like, what's your best excuse?
But it made me wonder, is there such a thing as a good excuse, like at work?
Right.
Is it just a lie, or is there a line?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think it depends on the context and who you're talking to.
Right.
A good excuse, I guess, explains the delay and shows you're gonna fix it.
Yes.
Taking ownership.
So it's not just the story, it's how you're going to fix it.
Exactly. And they talk about how the culture is really important too.
Oh, yeah, the cultural context.
Because language is more than just words.
Right.
It's like the culture's values, beliefs, everything wrapped up in it.
And you're learning a whole new way to see the world.
Exactly.
And how different cultures view deadlines is so different.
Yeah, for sure.
So how does that play out? And how can language help us work together?
That's a good point.
When everyone has different ideas about that.
Yeah, that's super important if you're working with people from all over.
Yeah. Like you need a cultural decoder.
Yeah, exactly.
So we've talked about language, deadlines, even procrastination. What can our listener take away from this to help them with their English?
Well, language is a tool to connect with people and to understand each other and to solve problems.
Yeah.
So pay attention to the subtle things.
Yeah.
And even the humor. It can make all the difference.
It's crazy how much we've talked about from just asking for an extension.
Right. Like, who knew?
It went so deep.
I know. But language really shows us all those things, about the culture and how people work together.
Yeah. And I think that's what makes this English Podcast Zone episode so cool.
Right.
Because they're not just giving you words. They're showing you how to use it.
Right.
In the real world.
Yeah, those messy situations that everybody has to deal with.
It's like they're giving you the cheat codes.
Yeah.
But not just for English, but for any language. Like understanding why people say what they say.
Because if you really want to be fluent, you can't just know the words.
Right.
You have to know what's going on behind the scenes.
Yeah.
And how to change what you say based on the situation.
What I like is that it kind of takes the pressure off.
Yeah.
Like it's okay to mess up.
Exactly.
You don't have to be perfect.
Mistakes are part of learning.
Yeah.
Like, you're going to make mistakes.
Yeah.
And that's fine.
It's okay. So we've been talking about deadlines and extensions.
Right.
But what should our listener think about, like, as we finish up here?
I think it's important to remember how powerful language is. Not just for work or school.
Right.
But, like, how you connect with other people.
Yeah, how we all work together.
Exactly.
We get through life together.
With a little humor, too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because it's more than just words.
It is.
It's like all of our experiences and how we relate to each other.
Exactly.
And that sometimes includes needing an extension or losing a file or
your cat at your homework.
Yeah.
Whatever it is.
But don't be afraid to make mistakes.
Right.
Have fun learning.
Yeah.
It's a journey, right?
It is. It never ends.
Well, we'll see you next time on The Deep Dive for another deep dive.
Bye.